When it comes to Dragon Ball, you'd be hard-pressed to find a more badass character than Jiren the Grey. Though he's only been around for one arc so far, and has spoken only a few words, he's left a lasting impact on not only Goku and the heroes of Universe 7, but the entire hierarchy of Dragon Ball's power structure. His strong sense of justice and unique philosophy of strength made him one of the most powerful foes Goku and the team have ever faced. But what does strength mean to Jiren, and how did he form the philosophy that has made him such a benchmark for power? Well, to find all this out, first, we need to take a look into Jiren's past. Jiren's childhood was far from storybook beginnings. Through Belmod, it's revealed that when he was only a boy, Jiren's family were all slain by what they refer to as a demon, whose name and true form are never revealed to us. After this incident, Jiren was found and taken in by an older man named Gichin, who would eventually become his master, and teach him the principles of strength and justice that you see in Jiren today, as well as help Jiren build up a new family under his tutelage. Many of the other students were also victims of the demon's cruelty, so they trained together in hopes of getting their vengeance against the monster, but when they arrived to finally face the demon again, they were cut down. Jiren, being one of the few who made it out alive, had failed to get revenge on the demon, and worse still, having watched his master be killed in the conflict, was now an orphan for the second time. Following this dark end to the first and second chapters of his life, Jiren chose to devote himself to justice. Under the recommendation of Master Gichin, he joined the Pride Troopers and vowed to himself that he would become the strongest warrior in the universe. But more tragically still, we learn that Jiren never received approval from his Master Gichin before his death, and he now lives his life to carry out the wishes of his old master, and is trained ever since in hopes to one day see him again in order to earn his approval once and for all. These tragic beginnings for Jiren are what have ultimately led him to the position he's in today. Through the continual loss of those around him he cares about, it's no wonder that he's such a lone wolf. It's no wonder that he keeps even his fellow Pride Troopers at arm's length. And this is the foundation on which Jiren's philosophy is built.
This colossal yearning for strength, built on a bedrock of suffering and desolation.
Jiren believes that strength comes from within oneself. Because of his life of loss and tragedy, Jiren peered inward and now derives his strength solely from within. If he relies only on himself, then he can't be hurt again by relying on others.
I know better than to believe in that kind of so-called strength. I know how easily it's ripped away!
It's honestly not a bad system, and it's not far off what we teach people in the real world. It's important to derive your confidence from within yourself first and foremost. Relationships come and go, especially in Jiren's case, so rooting your value in yourself with yourself is the most reliable way to ensure that it will always remain, no matter what trials you may come up against. Despite this, Dragon Ball sees it differently, of course, and Jiren comes face to face with Goku during the Tournament of Power, who holds the exact opposite position. Though in reality they're two sides of the same coin, Goku derives his strength almost completely externally, from his friends and even his enemies. Trust and friendship are the foundation for Goku's drive, along with judging himself based on who he can stack up to in a fight.
And all the others gave everything they had so I could keep going. If I do quit, I betray that trust. And I refuse to let all of them down!
So Jiren's philosophy is at odds with Goku's, and really with Dragon Ball's itself. While we see Goku and Vegeta using transformations, strange techniques like spirit fission and instant transmission, and tenuous power-ups like Kaioken, Jiren believes only in raw power. No tricks, no gimmicks, and no shortcuts. Only hard work and a strong resolve. He mocks Vegeta for his ego, clearly off-put at the fact that Vegeta feels entitled to power because of his heritage.
Ego infects your techniques and makes them impure. You think you're entitled to greatness.
He also tells Goku that attacks that exploit openings are not true strength, saying the same about techniques that risk the user's body like Kaioken, Ultra Instinct, or the berserking Super Saiyan forms of Kale and Broly. Jiren believes that to be truly considered strong, you have to take down your enemies with raw force, and only when they're at their best. Anything else is dishonorable for a true warrior. This has interesting implications had he known the history of Goku as a character. His fight against Vegeta back in the Saiyan saga, the Spirit Bomb against Kid Buu, his Battle of Gods with Beerus, all of these were fought with what Jiren would consider gimmicks that are not representative of Goku's true power. Kaioken, the tenuous power that destroys your own body, the Spirit Bomb, borrowed power from other sources, and finally the God power that Goku received through the ancient Saiyan ritual, not through his own training. Though Jiren didn't know it at the time, perhaps there was a reason that he was much quicker to acknowledge Vegeta as a warrior than he was with Goku.
I commend you for harnessing so much power in your last attack.
While Goku has won a lot of his battles through help from others and techniques that Jiren would consider dishonorable, Vegeta has always gained his power through a strong resolve and pure physical and mental training.
You are a stubborn one, aren't you?
No Kaioken, no Spirit Bomb, no Super Saiyan God ritual, just hard work. Vegeta even mocks Goku for this same fact in the anime, refusing to give any energy to Goku's last-ditch Spirit Bomb in his first battle with Jiren.
Forget it, Kakarot. I'm not gonna be your stupid crutch.
Throughout his battle with Goku in Universe 7, Jiren grows based off pure determination. Like his Saiyan enemies, he pushes past his limits, initially faltering to Goku's newfound Ultra Instinct, but eventually overpowering him through sheer will. Despite the team-based nature of the Tournament of Power, Jiren chooses to fight alone, shooing away his allies when they offer help, rejecting Goku when he says the other Pride Troopers need his help, and Darker Even decides to allow 2 of his teammates to fall, saying he'll finish the tournament by himself. Because of the value that Jiren puts on strength, he's hasty to disregard or even outright refuse to acknowledge other fighters that don't live up to his high standards. I mean, just look at how BM he is in the anime, meditating with his eyes closed through half the tournament. But more specifically, upon the start of the tournament, he refuses to even acknowledge Goku, in the manga almost knocking him out right off the bat and calling him Nameless Warrior from Universe 7. Only once Goku finally realizes that Jiren was conserving his full power when he knocked Hit out of the ring does he finally receive Jiren's recognition, but only for his perceptiveness, not even for his combat ability.
This fight is over.
Vegeta, on the other hand, receives it rather quickly once he shows Jiren his evolved transformation in the manga and his fully charged Final Flash in the anime.
Now, warrior. Time to sleep.
But even upon Goku unlocking Ultra Instinct, Jiren still tells him that a warrior of his resolve could never triumph over him. As Jiren says himself after taking out Vegeta, he puts his life on the line in every battle he fights, no matter how weak his opponent is. That is the rule that Jiren lives by. When it comes to strengths, Jiren has many, but none are quite as firm as the strength of his principles. Not acknowledging lesser fighters, disregarding tricks and power-ups, even his choice to fight alone during the Tournament of Power, these are all pillars that rise from the foundation of Jiren's principles. With his induction into the Pride Troopers, Jiren has devoted his life to justice, but unlike Zamasu from an arc earlier, who ended up twisting his principles in pursuit of justice by enacting violence on the other gods, despite condemning mortals for the very same thing, Jiren is steadfast. He even condemns his fellow Pride Trooper Top for tossing aside his principles when he accepted his role as a destroyer.
How disgraceful, although it shouldn't have surprised me. It's stunning you could find so much power without sacrificing your ideals.
After all, principles aren't really principles if you can bend them at will. Your principles need to be a rock, or a strong system of roots that all your actions can grow from. For example, we know that Jiren believes true strength is only shown when you're able to defeat an opponent at their full power with your own full power. As such, in the anime, he allows Goku and Vegeta to charge their full Spirit Bomb and Final Flash respectively to use against him.
Bring it.
Not because he wants to flex how much stronger he is, but because of a principle that he shares with Goku. The only way to truly and honorably win a fight is to do so fighting your opponent at their strongest.
Haven't you noticed how Jiren's been watching Goku? He won't want to end this battle until he's seen Goku at his maximum power.
But the expression of strength is only one of Jiren's many principles. Through the power he's managed to accumulate, and because of the mentorship from his master Gichin, Jiren vowed to use his strength to protect the innocent. And he does so, causing as little harm as possible, even to the monsters that caused the chaos in the first place. Jiren never kills his enemies, he only captures them, even ones that are rampaging and destroying entire cities. While fighting Hit, he goes so far as to brutally demean him for being an assassin.
Do you know what the pride of an assassin is good for? Nothing!
And on top of that, he doesn't like it when his enemies destroy themselves either. Even though Universe 7 was his rival, he's still displeased when Android 17 appears to self-destruct. This part of Jiren's pursuit of strength to overpower evildoers so completely that he doesn't need to kill them or risk them harming themselves, but can easily and safely capture them. Think back to some of the trials the Z Fighters have gone through throughout the series. If Goku and Vegeta were stronger than Majin Buu, they could have held him back at his initial appearance and learned of his good side like Mr. Satan did, saving many lives in the process. In his second meeting with Frieza, had Goku been more resolute, he could have captured the newly revived Tyrant without the risk of the Earth being destroyed. And think again of Android 17, who Jiren shares a lot of similarities with. When he first came in contact with the heroes and was attacked by Trunks, Tien, and Piccolo, he was strong enough to take them down and knock them out with non-lethal means. This is why Jiren is so strong, to enact his justice without the need to cause harm himself. He has all but monopolized strength in his universe so that he can best serve it as a protector. Now, speaking of 17 and his similarities with Jiren, as I said, there are a lot of them. But first and foremost, their value for life is unmatched by anyone else in the series, even Goku. When first asked to join the Tournament of Power, both turned down the invitation, citing the lives they strive to protect. 17, the animals on his island, and Jiren, the civilians of Universe 11. Jiren refuses to leave Universe 11, even for a couple hours, because it means the people of his universe would be left unprotected. Once he's finally convinced to join the tournament, it's only under the pretense that if anything goes wrong in Universe 11 while he's away, he'll leave the tournament immediately to come back and help, even though the existence of the entire universe is on the line. While this may seem silly, it's a deontic distinction that Android 17 makes as well. If Zeno decides to wipe out their universe in an instant, so be it, as long as they've done everything they can to prevent the suffering of living beings in the meantime. On a smaller level, think of this like a nurse at a hospital, continuing to treat sick patients, making them as comfortable as possible, even as a giant meteor hurtles toward the Earth to destroy it. On top of this reason for not joining the tournament, Jiren also says that he won't attempt to save his own universe if it comes at the cost of all the others being destroyed. A simple matter of not being one to pull the trigger. Think of the well-known trolley problem, but instead of deciding between killing one and letting 5 die, you're on one track yourself and all the other universes participating are on the other. No matter what happens, even if you manage to sit out the entire tournament until the very end, you necessarily will be trading the existence of at least one other universe for your own. In everything we've seen so far, Jiren is about as firm in his principles as one could be. However, a moment toward the end of the tournament, coupled with his recruitment to the Universe 11 team, shows us a different side of Jiren that could throw all of this out the window.
No, this can't be.
As the Tournament of Power draws to its final moments, Jiren's wish is revealed to us. He hopes to use the Super Dragon Balls to resurrect his old master Gichin. And while it seems like a selfless act, we're keyed into the fact that it may be all but that. Here is where Toppa reveals that Jiren never received acknowledgement from Gichin. That what Jiren has been seeking this entire time, and his reason for joining the tournament in the first place, has been the approval of his master. And Jiren plans to revive Gichin with his wish to finally be named his successor. That is the real reason behind Jiren's pursuit of strength. He thought he hadn't gotten his master's approval because he wasn't strong enough yet. That's why he trained, and that's why he pushed himself toward this idea of justice. Because it wasn't really his idea at all. He was just doing what he thought Master Gichin wanted him to do. This all brings into question if Jiren really believes the things he believes, or if he's just mirroring his old master. Now, just because you adopt your ideals from someone else doesn't mean that they're not now yours. In fact, Jiren took what he thought his master wanted and molded it to form his own unique philosophy of deriving strength from within. But Belmod reveals that Jiren has been wrong this whole time, and that his solitary version of strength was never what Gichin wanted for Jiren. He pushed him to join the Pride Troopers so that he could find a sense of family, to learn trust and teamwork. It feels like Jiren has come into his own philosophy, despite basing it on the foundation of what he thinks his master wanted for him. So in pursuit of the goal to achieve his master's approval, has Jiren thrown away his principles of protecting the innocent? Joining the tournament at the cost of the other universes with the sole intent of reviving his old master? Well, in a way, yes. He has wavered on the boundaries that he set for himself. He will necessarily be forsaking the other 7 universes with his participation, and with his wish. In fact, it's a wish that would have doomed all of reality, because at its core, the seeking of Gichin's approval, it's a selfish wish. A selfish wish that the Grand Priest informed us would have resulted in the erasure of all of existence.
A selfish wish would have been viewed as a damning indictment, and their majesties would have eliminated all of reality.
Not only this, but his pursuit of Gichin's approval goes against his newfound source of strength from within. Jiren is necessarily seeking external validation through his master, and this turmoil within him could possibly even be the reason he lost. Perhaps if he was resolute in his foundation of strength, he may have been able to overcome Universe 7. The end of the Tournament of Power, however, was certainly a turning point for Jiren, where he learns that he needs to find his own way and truly develop and lean into his own philosophy, whatever that may turn out to be. So, does this make Jiren a bad person, sliding on his principles to seek the approval of his master, even at the cost of the other universes? No, not quite. No one is 100% consistent. Everyone slides on their principles every now and then. Everyone has a soft spot. It's part of being human, or in Jiren's case, it's part of being immortal. Perhaps your family is the most important thing in the world to you, but you turn in a family member when they try to steal from you. Or even something less foundational like picking up a cigarette when you've vowed to quit. Whatever the case may be, making mistakes and missteps doesn't make you evil, and in Jiren's case, his misstep is based on the trauma from his childhood. After he was left orphaned, Master Gichin was all he had, and after losing him as well, Jiren was left without closure again. He even blames himself for Gichin's death, so it's possible his wish isn't entirely selfish either. He also wants to right the wrongs from his past and revive the man that he feels he let down. It's only natural that he would seek out his closure, and try to learn the final lessons that Gichin had left to teach him. But throughout the tournament and through Goku, Jiren did finally learn these lessons, and now is on a path toward finding himself and opening himself up to the people around him. With all that said, due in large part to their massive moral similarities, it's entirely possible that he would have done what 17 did, and forsake his selfish wish in favor of one that is more in line with his principles. To wish the other universes back even though it would condemn his personal goal to revive his master. Despite this weak point of Jiren's, he had managed to build up quite a rigid philosophy for himself, and I'm sure he'll take parts of that with him into the future as he grows and learns. I mean, they brought him to a point where he became stronger than the gods of destruction, and was able to protect the people of his universe from any threat. Though it clashes with Dragon Ball's message, the idea that strength comes from within is not necessarily a bad one, and it's absolutely possible to find strength in the way that Jiren has, while also opening yourself up to friendships and teamwork. And though Jiren didn't see this at the time, it's probably the case that the next time we see him, he'll be even more of a force to be reckoned with, standing alongside the other Pride troopers. But whatever the case may be, determination, pride, and honor will always be at Jiren's side, and these are the real values that pushed him to surpass the gods themselves.
I hope to see you again, Jiren.
What an incredible warrior.
Yeah.